I don't think it's hyperbole to suggest that government benefits are the bane of every personal injury attorney's existence. So I get numerous calls a day from clients or from attorneys telling me that they were about to disperse their client's settlement proceeds, and now they found out that their client is on government benefits, and can they disperse these proceeds without jeopardizing them? So today I just wanted to share a very brief and cursory general overview of the government benefits that need protection at the time of settlement and those that don't. I'll do further video series explaining some of these mechanisms in more detail later, but for today, I just wanted to give an introductory overview. So when we're talking about government benefits, we need to find out what government benefits are our clients on. And that is not as easy as, we might think it would be, because sometimes our clients just don't know, or there's a lot of things lost in translation. But anyway, when we are talking about government benefits, there are entitlement benefits and there are needs-based benefits. And generally, the entitlement benefits are ones that do not need a special needs trust or an ABLE account or a spend down in order to keep those benefits at the time of settlement. But then we have our needs-based benefits, and many of the needs-based benefits have a $2,000 asset limit, such that if you do disperse settlement proceeds to these individuals, their government benefits will be jeopardized. So what are entitlements? We have SSDI, that's a common one, so Social Security Disability Income. Now, SSDI is the type of disability people get once they have the requisite number of working credits. So if you have clients who they tell you that they are on Social Security Disability, but you know that they've never worked, or they only worked under the table, then they're likely not on SSDI. They're on SSI, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But for those individuals who are getting SSDI, unless we're talking about a workers' compensation case, which I'm not going to talk about at length here, you don't really have to do anything to protect those benefits because they won't be jeopardized. Social Security retirement. Somebody's 65 or over, they can have $1 trillion in their bank account from a settlement, and those benefits will not be jeopardized. Then we have Medicare. And Medicare, if the person is under 65, it's because they've been receiving SSDI for 24 months. So basically, with these entitlement benefits, you've paid into the system with your paycheck, so you are entitled to these. These benefits in and of themselves do not require a special needs trust. However, like I said, always be mindful about protecting Medicare's future interest. And I'll do another video series later on Medicare set-asides. Now let's talk about needs-based benefits. That we have SSI, Supplemental Security Income. So there's a lot of confusion that I see. I do have attorneys all the time calling me and just saying my clients are getting Social Security benefits. So again, it's critical that we distinguish between SSI and SSDI. The current SSI amount is $967. So that is a red flag for you to think that your client is likely on SSI, not SSDI, and that they will need some sort of protection to protect those benefits. Then we talk about Medicaid. So Medicaid, that is a really confusing one. And I should give the caveat that this is something that, you need to look into in your own state. But this is sort of the trend across the country. And I know California is a bit different. So usually if I get a question about California benefits, then I'm going to call one of my colleagues and make sure that my clients are in good hands. But when it comes to Medicaid, there's MAGI Medicaid, which is Modified Adjusted Gross Income Medicaid. And that is for individuals who are simply low income. And MAGI Medicaid does not usually look at resources, and a settlement is considered a resource in most states. So when people are on just low income Medicaid, for the most part, they don't need to have any sort of special needs trust or protective mechanism. Then we have our non-MAGI Medicaid categories. And non-MAGI Medicaid is based on various disabilities. So it could be age-blind and disabled, or long-term care Medicaid, or home community-based Medicaid, or some sort of Medicaid waiver program. So for individuals receiving those types of Medicaid, we do need to protect the settlement proceeds in order to protect those government benefits. So let's say that your client is on SSI and they are on Medicaid that requires protection. How do we protect those benefits? There's a couple different ways, and I'm going to address them. I'd say most commonly known one is a special needs trust. So essentially all the settlement proceeds would go into a trust. It's an irrevocable trust, and the trust can be used for the beneficiary's health, education, maintenance, and support. Now, if this is a trust that is being funded with the beneficiary's own settlement proceeds, then when the beneficiary passes away, Medicaid does get to assert a lien at the time of death. Then I want to talk about ABLE accounts, Achieving Better Life Experience accounts. These are state-run bank accounts that can receive, at this point, up to $19,000 per year without jeopardizing SSI or Medicaid benefits. So I guess the limitations with ABLE accounts, or why we can't use them instead of special needs trusts, is they only can receive up to $19,000 per year. And right now, and this is October of 2025, you have to have been disabled prior to the age of 26 in order to set up an ABLE account. That is going to change next year, and the limitation is going to go up to 46. So next year, individuals who were disabled prior to the age of 46 will be eligible for ABLE accounts. And then the last thing is a spend down. And a spend down does not just mean spending the money, but individuals can spend money on certain exempt purchases and document those purchases and report that to Social Security and Medicaid to ensure that they don't lose their government benefits. But the timing has to be right. And anytime somebody's going to do a spend down, I always recommend talking to an elder law attorney. So that's just sort of generally how we protect these government benefits. But if you want more information about a specific case, feel free to contact me by email or by phone. Thank you.